All right, so today is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to talk about books, and I'm going to talk about some books that changed my lives, and I want to just express myself, right? I'm going to rant because people get in their way a lot. They get in their own way because they think they know what's going on because they have life experience with something else, and they generally don't listen to professionals or coaches or people that they're interacting with. People always say, Jerome, like, how do you have so much success? How do you get so much done? Because I listen to my mentors and I listen to my coaches, right? That's like my secret to success. I actually listen. Like, oh, you should do this. I'll go do it. Right. Whereas other people they'll go out and question. Oh, but what about this? What if they told me to jump off a bridge? Like, it make up the worst possible scenarios. So, books. Right. I want to talk about first and foremost. I want to talk about if you're in business, there are generally two personality types that you're going to come across in business, and one is very common, right? And this is why I structure my content and I say what I say and everything that I do, right? I say ideas are worthless without implementation because anybody can come up with ideas, right? Anybody can sit there, think of an idea. Oh, what about you do this? But when you ask somebody like, okay, how are you going to do it, or what's the implementation? You get crickets, right? Typically, there's no implementation, and that's the struggle and the issue with most people. They don't get anything done. So I first learned about this book. I can't remember, but it's the book Traction. And inside of Traction, you talk about the types, right? You got CEO and manager, like you got all these labels across the industry, right? And none of that stuff really matters. It boils it down and says you got two personality types, right? In business, two behaviors generally. You got a visionary, right, which is the ideas person. That's generally they come up with all the ideas, but they struggle with implementing the ideas. And the other personality type you have is an integrator. And the integrator can take ideas, right? You can take those impractical ideas and make it into something real. Those strong, those outrageous goals, the integrator can take those and implement them, right? So integrators are rare, right? And because they're rare and because they're practical, they don't always have the friendliest attitudes, and typically they're not on the front line, but they're essential to business, right? You can run a business without a visionary, but you can't run a business without an integrator. It doesn't work that way, right? So you absolutely need integrators. And the next book is Rocket Fuel. So it is the sequel, I believe, to Traction. And you need to understand, right? I work with people and I come across this in real estate a lot because people have these great personalities, right? You got a great personality. Oh, you know how to make people feel good, but you can't implement, right? And the reason why I mention it is because that's typically who I work with. I work with people that have those great personalities and people love me. That's great. But what comes from that, right? You have to make it real, right? Oh, I make people feel good. So what? Let's make it real, right? That stuff doesn't mean anything. You feeling it, you making people feel good, and you light up the room, whatever the stuff you want to say, right? I've heard this over several in several variations. People love me. I light up the room. I make people feel good. Massaging people, all that stuff. None of it matters, right? If you can't, if nothing is getting implemented, right? So this is why most people are very reserved to salespeople because they make you feel good, right? And you'll feel good their entire time, and you turn around a couple months later, a couple years later, and nothing's got done. But you felt good. It was so great, and the guy was so great. It was a fun experience. Okay, what are the results, right? And that's where integrators come in. They're like, okay, what are the results? How are we going to do this? They're practical and realistic, right? So now the next book it goes a little bit deeper, and I consider this like a personality types in entrepreneurship, but probably in life too, right? You have generally four types, right? So high level, you start off with traction. You got visionaries and integrators, and they go into detail on how those two work together. But this is maybe for people that aren't necessarily in business. This is across like all industries, and there are four basic types, right? You have red, yellow, green, and blue. So that red type that I was talking about, that the integrator that I was talking about, typically there are these types. They're the red and the blue, right? If you want to know who I am, I'm both red and blue. I'm very practical and very realistic, right? I might not make you feel good. I might not be the friendliest person, but guess what? We're going to get some results. You're going to feel good about those results. That's what you're going to feel good about, right? And then you have the yellow types, right? The yellow type, they make you feel really good. They make you feel really good. And then you also have the green type, they're very empathetic, right? These two are typically impractical. They're typically impractical, but they'll make you feel really good, and they're all about experience and relationships. Okay, so inside of this book, it talks about the different strengths and weaknesses of each type, right? There is no better type, or like it's there are strengths and weaknesses for each. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because, again, I work with a lot of different people, and I work with a lot of yellow type personalities, right? And they are great personalities, and they'll make people feel good. They make their clients feel good. They make their customers feel good. But in the process, while they're doing this, guess what? Like if I go back to Traction and Rocket Fuel, they're destroying the business because there are no results happening, right? They're destroying the business. And in Traction a lot, they said that visionaries, like, they ruin the business because they get in the way of the integrators. You have to stay out of the way, right? That's why it's so important to understand yourself, who you're working with. And this is why I always recommend books, right? You have to stay out the way. I was working with a company before, and I was working with a woman. I'm pretty confident she was a yellow type, and all she would do was get in the way when I was trying to integrate stuff. And that's what caused me to go start my own thing, because I was like, you know what, I can do this stuff without that friction. I don't need the friction. It's not necessary. If you want me to work for you, if you hire me or you partner up with me, get out of my way, right? Just stay out the way and I'll help you get stuff done, right? And that woman, she just could not stay out of my way. And I just wanted to talk about that because you have to be careful. People are going to make you feel good, right? And you probably already know by now. It's probably happened for years. They will make you feel really, really good, but there is no results from you feeling good, right? No results. Show me this. Show me the results. Okay, what's getting done? Am I making money? Is my business growing, or are you just feeling good? That's why it's so important to have accountability, and that's also why it's so important to be able to get outside of your feelings and observe things for what they are, right? Your feelings and feeling good, that stuff, it matters, but it doesn't matter more than your success and growing your business, right? So I just wanted to talk about that because it just keep coming up, and I had to get it out. People are in their own ways because they're so worried about feeling good in their feelings, right? When I hire coaches and mentors, I hire the ones that won't tell me what I want to hear, right? They're going to tell me the real thing. I don't care about feeling good because I'm grown man, right? I'm grown enough where I've been through the journey and I don't need to feel good. I want to grow. Don't tell me what makes me feel good. Tell me what I need to do so I can grow. And that's what everybody should do. They should generally adapt that philosophy, but I understand most people are not. However, my advice to you is look for results, be objective, right? And if you're working with someone, a coach or a mentor or a professional, right, don't challenge or question what it is that they know. Right. If you want to challenge it, you challenge it after you're done working with them or something like that. Right. Really good example is when I first started in real estate, I had this mentor. He taught me how to like wholesale and door knock, and it was like these very old school methods. And it was like I was like, this stuff like doesn't really work. But I followed his program. When I left the program, that's when I was like, you know what? Let me change some stuff. Right. So just wanted to share that and talk about that really quickly because it is so important that you understand that stuff if you're going to have success in business, or you want to grow in life, right? So if you want to understand personalities and how to interact with people, different personalities, check out these books, right? Traction is a really good book for like getting a business, getting traction in your business. That's the basis of the book. The two personality types that are generally in business, visionary and integrator, that is in here in Rocket Fuel, right? If you want to grow your business, you're figuring out, okay, why can't I go further? Rocket fuel is it, right? Most people are visionaries. 80% of the world, they're integrated. They're visionaries. 20% are integrators, right? If you go, they even have a website. If you go on their website, there are so many visionaries because ideas are so easy. It's easy to, oh, you know what? All you got to do, that's so easy, right? People always say, all you got to do, but it's not that easy, right? And that's why you need the integrators. They are very realistic and they help you make it practical. And then to go a little bit further, the four surrounded by idiots is the book. This is a book by Thomas Erikson. Go get the book and understand what your type is, right? And then start to analyze and understand what types you're working with so you can better communicate with them, understand the different strengths and weaknesses, right? So, me, I always know, I tell people, listen, right? I'm going to tell you the real thing. It might not make you feel good, but I'm going to help you get some results. Also, blue over here, too. These are very practical, right? And I meet a lot of these ones, a lot of these yellows, and they have these great personalities, but they don't really get anything done, right? They don't get anything done. They don't get any results because they're unrealistic, or they're not partnering up with one of the other more practical types that they need in business. So my name is Jerome Lewis. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you on the inside. Bye bye.